The Spin Squad out of the Bitcoin camp, they were out in full force today telling us why all this information that's coming out, how XRP, Ripple, XLM, Ethereum even, how they were all attacked and suppressed. Why, that doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. We'll dig into that. We got some really encouraging metrics, on-chain metrics for the XRP ledger, and some varying opinions. Have we reached a bottom? Are we going to start recovering here within the crypto space? Or are we in for a long and vicious bear market? Let's dig into it. First of all, our buddy Jack Mallers, who, just to be clear here, I like Jack. I like his company. Strike is one of my favorite applications there is, but I don't know why everything else has to be a scam other than, the one coin that he likes. That's a ridiculous outlook. And he said today, the Epstein files that leaked showing some pretty nefarious activities in the background. Doesn't matter. Don't even think about it. And he brings up the point. Was the inventor of fire a good person? Seemed like a reasonable argument, I guess. We don't know who the inventor of fire is, but we still use it all the time as a utility. Great. But I'll tell you this. When fire was first invented, I'm sure regulators didn't go out and stamp out other types of fire and, fine and knock people out of business. And, it's not comparable. It's a stupid argument. And I was so angry, I wrote this article today. We're just going to go over a couple of highlights. DOJ documents reveal what about who really built Bitcoin. And again, this isn't a commentary about Bitcoin itself or the technology. It's really an overreaching, narrative about this crypto space and how corrupt it has really been, much worse than we knew before. The argument is, hey, you can look at the Bitcoin code and, well, there's no backdoor, nothing to worry about. No one needed to corrupt the Bitcoin code itself. What they did is they can control access to what is built on top of this technology, which projects got listed on exchanges, what the media narrative was, who regulators went after, we saw that, what developers got paid, what academic institutions were legitimized through it. And the investment no one talked about until now, and this is a big one, records confirm that Epstein invested $3 million in Coinbase. Remember the uphill battle, why are they listing all these coins? Litecoin, all this other stuff. We can't get XRP on their exchange. Why? Why can't we? Why are they so difficult here? There's a huge market out there. It's equally as compliant as anything else. Well, Jeffrey Epstein putting $3 million investment in the C round through Brock Pierce, who also, you know who he's from Tether, of course. We have this. We have, I believe, CoinDesk and other publications, the digital currency group. From top to bottom, from where you can buy the on and off ramp, to the developers of Bitcoin, to the news outlets that set the narrative. There's investments in all of these areas. You don't think that makes a difference? Coinbase, they became the regulated gateway for traditional finance and crypto. The company decided which tokens got Main Street legitimacy and which projects could access capital. Which assets institutions could buy. When Coinbase listed a token, well, the price pumped. When they didn't, projects died in obscurity. Now, XRP was big enough. XRP got too big where they could no longer ignore it. And when it got too big and got listed, then they sued Ripple and got it delisted. And we clawed our way all the way back, but almost no one else would be able to make that climb. It's not going to happen. They're not going to get listed the first time, and they darn sure ain't going to come back. Now, this is another important part. Because if you notice, crypto's more tribal than other things. And the tribal warfare, it's not organic. And we saw that in those emails. The emails revealed everything. They said right here, Austin Hill from Blockstream, co-founder, he put the narrative out there. Why supporting Ripple and Stellar is bad for the ecosystem we are building. You see, behind the scenes, this narrative start to form. Sounds familiar, doesn't it here? And so what happens next was not coincidence. We've seen it a million times. Nonsense, technical dismissal, ideological purity test that no one else can pass, funding starvation. This wasn't grassroots Bitcoin maximalism. This was deliberately made to suppress competition. We saw it over and over and over. There's a lot of stuff here. You see this. Go on my X, read the article. I mean, timelines, people involved. It's a lot. Check this out. But you'll understand the argument that Bitcoin is open source is nonsense. We're talking about what features we're focused on in Bitcoin. Why isn't it faster and cheaper? Why doesn't it have privacy? Why doesn't it have, smart contracts. Maybe the government or whoever he's working for didn't want the public having these things on Bitcoin. We don't know. We have to question everything. This is much deeper than simply saying, oh, there's no backdoors in Bitcoin. This is industry wide. This is suppression of competition, and it's a big deal. And they need to look into this. Now, XRP. I think we're going to have a great year this year. And there's really 5 pillars we're going to build off of. Things we can look forward to. ETF acceleration. If we can cross 3 billion assets under management, that's going to be a true signal of an institutional stampede, and it's going to affect things. I've seen a couple price predictions from some significant analysts that say if we can hit that mark, 3 billion assets under management for XRP, you're going to see that price rise, upwards closer to the 6, 8, maybe even $10 range. We need to have that victory here in the Clarity Act. That has to get done. Let's hope, they can iron out the little bit of things they're arguing about, but that's going to legitimize this whole space. RLUSD stablecoin scaling is going to make the XRP ledger itself much more liquid. And beyond that, it can prove that Ripple really can launch a product and scale it, and they're doing so right now. They're doing quite well. Global RippleNet expansion. They don't call it RippleNet anymore, but you know what I'm talking about. Their payment services, their custody, their stablecoin, that's going to bring a lot of attention to the XRP ledger itself. And then the macro for risk on, the shift. We want to go back to a bullish time when people want risk on assets, and I think we will see that shift here shortly. Ripple is moving from the courtroom to the Capitol after years of regulation by enforcement. Brad Garlinghouse, what's he doing right now? He's heading to D.C. to get this deal done. He's choosing clarity over chaos. It's easy for the people that didn't have to go to court with the SEC to say, oh, chaos is better. Yeah, you haven't lived through chaos, buddy. You have no idea what you're talking about. Brad Garlinghouse needs this thing done. Right now, we have this stalemate in the Senate, and they're just trying to negotiate. Doesn't mean you accept anything, but you got to get this deal done, and it looks like they're going to do so. White House stepping in here, a major signal to the industry of how important this is. The White House, they just had this summit yesterday trying to get this thing done. And again, I believe they will because there's too much money on the line. It's too important. XRP, the smart money versus retail right now. The gap is widening while retail is capitulating. Their confidence is shaking. What we are seeing is a massive spike in wallets that hold $1 billion or more XRP. They continue to grow, and they're growing quickly. So even though the price is going down, they are taking this time to build out their position. That's what your big money does. They take opportune time, and that's when they're going to acquire here. Mega Wells last year, they didn't start positioning until February, but this cycle, they're a month early. They started in January here. In the divergence, we're seeing a clear handoff in markets. Retail's panic, but the whales are absorbing. And so that's the big deal here. Your big money knows what's coming. They're being aggressive, and we should see this thing take off shortly. Vitalik, admitting that the L2 dream, well, it's hitting a wall. It doesn't work. Ethereum is going to have to spend 2026 trying to fix their fragmentation, their problems with multi-sig, and the XRP narrative is now looking stronger than ever. ETH L2s, they've stalled. Most still cannot run without multi-sig overrides by a human. That ain't decentralized. That ain't the future of blockchain. XRP, it's built for no layers, no bloat, just 3-second finality and institutional grade settlement. The contrast, Ethereum, they're trying to build in some ways. This is the reality. They are trying to build, well, what XRP already has. Now, make no mistake, I'm an Ethereum bull. I think it's going to do quite well, this year. But they got some things to fix here, and they got to get in there and do so. And the landscape is much more competitive than it was even a year ago. New feature sets coming on the XRP ledger, smart contracts coming natively, Ethereum sidechain already there. Now, Michael Novogratz, he says that, Bitcoin wasn't supposed to act like this. Rates are going lower, NASDAQ and gold were ripping, but crypto crumble, what's going on? He chalked it up to just being a young asset class. I think the rotation is going to hit us, though. Sooner than later, this is where the value is. When that money comes flowing in, they're going to look to crypto. Now, I'll give you this narrative, even though I don't share it, on Bankless. And there's some pretty smart people over there. They're saying the full-blown bear market, it has arrived on the Bankless podcast. They said before last week there were hopes of recovery, but now there is none. It is all over Red Rover. We will have a long and protracted bear market that's going to stretch for years. Let me know down below what you think. Is that the case? Or are we just waiting our time to finally take off and show some growth in this space? I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Also, for those of you out there that have not yet, make sure you join the Zao DAO, have a voice in the future of this blockchain. Also, you get to partake in profits that the DAO makes from its strategic investments in various businesses that it's going to be launching and also, acquiring. Big deal build there. You use your Salmon wallet, your Bifrost wallet. It's $10 for a lifetime membership. Sign into the D app, link down below. You go right to the website, sign in, join, $10 payable in XRP. Use those two wallets and join the future. Let me know what you think down below. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.